Hi, welcome to the coaching game. And look who's here with me. I'm Laurie Lawson, and
I'm Terry Yoffe, Coaches Creating Change. Whoa.
it's time does fly, and especially in the summer. But we decided today we wanted to do something fun, and we were talking about all the myths that are around coaching and all the misunderstandings. And we said, you know what? Let's start taking some of those and tackling them and letting people know the real deal. Because God knows we've been around coaching for a long time, so we know a lot of the realities and the fantasies. So that's what
Wow.
we thought we would do today, just to have a little fun.
Yeah, that hopefully it doesn't, shaking the tree, as you would say. Um, because when I went into coaching, I had really no idea about it, what it was going to do, what it was going to produce. It was a path that I found intriguing. So, here we are, me 17 and a half years later. And yeah, what you hear people say they're in the business world, oh, I think I want to go into coaching. And, you know, that's great. I would just start by saying if you already are in business, keep your day job,
I did.
at least
Best
until
advice
you get
ever.
it going. I unfortunately already had a business. So I wasn't working for a company. So I was, I didn't have a choice because I already was in another business that I had started.
Right. But
So,
remember when we started, it was coaching was just because I'm about the same as you. Yeah, oh my goodness, 17 years. That's you and me.
right,
Um, but this coaching was just starting to catch on, and people weren't really sure what it was.
right.
But they suddenly everybody was a coach. I remember the craziest one I heard, or one of the craziest. Somebody was a hair coach, and it's like, how do you coach hair? But they were a hair coach. Remember, there was a knife coach, and we're going, what is that? And the knife coach, they're very prominent. It helps you
That I
go
never
into
heard of.
plastic surgery.
So,
Yeah. So everybody, we were starting to get angry. It's like, wait, we took all this training and then you just put coach on your card. And but now it's sort of regulated itself out. But in
yeah,
the beginning, nobody knew what the heck a coach was, including us. We just figured, what a cool way to make a living, hopefully, or a career. not
right.
not easy, but we
No,
didn't know that
no,
at the
no.
time.
And there's just so much involved, It was going back to school, kind of, having had a great career in advertising sales and whatever I did. And then kind of, as I said, I started in the basement again. I had to go back to school. We had to do courses and then figure out, okay, who's going to hire me? They may have known me as a great salesperson, but who was going to hire me as a coach? That was the first thing. How do you get clients?
Yes.
What do you do to get them? Building websites, going for certifications. So it was a whole process that as I look back, I think, God, I wouldn't do that today.
If I had known, I think I would have still done it. But that you're right. I mean, if you were learning a whole new language, you were learning a whole new way of dealing with people and also becoming accountable to yourself. But it's well, that's one myth buster. It's like, okay, you take the training and you're a coach. You are,
Right.
but make no mistake, coaching is a business. That means it does include your marketing, your
Right.
branding, your outreach, your connections, your collaborations. And I think a lot of people in my class, when we finally graduated after a year, I said, okay. And they told us, go out and coach. And it's like, yeah, but where do we get the clients? Who knows we're a coach? What do we, so if you definitely keep your day job, I would say. And if not, and learn a little bit about how to run a business because it is a business. Um,
And yes, it is a business. And a lot of coaches, I think, forget about that. They want to do good, right?
yes.
They want to help people.
Yeah.
And without realizing, well, it's a business. If it's a business, I have to make money. And oh my God, if how am I going to charge? Which becomes, from where I was 17 years ago to where I am today, it's, my structure is very, very different. But as a new coach, I think, struggle with how much can I charge somebody? Do I charge $5 to get started? And maybe you do start out charging less, right? You're a new coach, you may not have certifications. When I graduated CTI coaching, I got a certificate. That was it, a certificate, right? A year later, I went for my certification, which was another step up. And then I went for ICF's accreditation.
Mhm.
So it's a long path between just getting a certificate and then moving forward and getting clients and, clients to trust you. They may have known you in your former careers. They didn't know me as a coach.
And they didn't really know what coaching was. It's like, well, what do you mean you're going to coach me? Coach
Right.
me to do what?
Yeah.
So
Right.
and I agree though. Did you have difficulty charging people in the beginning?
Um, I did. I think for me, it was about what does the market bear,
Mhm.
what I can get away with as a new coach, and was it about making money or was it about getting clients?
And you're right. And we've all wanted to do good. I think that's really why almost everybody goes into coaching because you want to be of service. And it's like, but then when you have to charge for it, it's like, does that take the service part out of it? And do I know enough? Who am I to coach you to have a better life?
Charge
And
for
charge you for it at the same time. Yeah.
it.
But I will say now, after the fact, coaching is the best business in the world, the best career in the world, because you do charge people to help them. And so you're of service, but you cannot help but also keep learning in the process as you're coaching. And it's not intentional, or maybe for some, but it's a process where you get paid, you continue to learn, and you help other people. I can't think of anything else that's as cool as coaching.
That is true. And I think, to be honest, when you look at the scale of all coaches, right? There's the very, very top cream of the top, like a Marshall Goldsmith, that probably make a lot of money, whatever that
Right.
means. Then there's another level of people that do well. And then there's truly the world of coaches who don't really do well. I mean, I think I personally don't go into companies. I work with individuals. I do work with small businesses,
Mhm.
but as individuals, you can't charge the kind of money you would charge if you were going in to a big company. I'm also a solo practitioner.
Yeah.
So you have to also figure out, where do you want to put yourself? I chose not to go into any big companies. I've gone in, as I said, I've worked with many tiny European companies, or small people in small companies here, but not big companies. So you have to choose where you want to put your focus.
And you have to really, and I hope you've done that by the time you get into some kind of coaching, to align it with your values, because there's no doubt about it. Executive coaches make more money than life coaches. And that's just the way it is because the companies pay for you. But I chose, because I had gotten out of the corporate world. It's like, no, why did I take this whole new career and then I'm going to go bring it back in the corporate world where I have to wear suits and have little silk ties and little crazy. That's where I came from, where and it was like, no, I don't want to do that. And I'm going to sacrifice a little bit of money because I want the freedom of being my own boss and dealing with people on a smaller level.
Right.
But it's really can meet all your needs, whatever needs you want. You just have to align it with your values.
Right, exactly. And that's why I also chose, where clients, and they could be presidents of small companies or they are executives, but they come out from the umbrella of their company.
Yeah.
And for me, I think there's a lot more length and breadth in working with somebody outside their company than going in and being kind of dictated by whoever the boss is of that person
Right.
to help them. So that's, one thing to think about when you go
Yeah.
into coaching.
And remember, when we started out, also coaches were punitive. It was like you were if you were in a company, and not in a company, but if a company contacted you, it was like, okay, coach this person, it's their last chance. If they don't make it with you, we're firing you. So we were like the punishment. It was like,
So
remember, we were punitive. It was like, oh, this is the last step before you get fired. So
for some, others, they were moving into bigger positions and they needed to hone in on certain
yeah,
skills.
that's true. That's
So,
true.
you know,
But
so
while we're talking about money, it's like, I think there's a misconception or a myth that, we sit around all day on the phone in our pajamas, making $100,000 a year. That's not true.
no, that's not.
It's not true. You do have the freedom of being on the phone, sometimes without being face to face. And that came in so handy during the pandemic. But again, coaching is a business. So they don't call your phone. You have to call them. You have to find your clients. And it's doubtful that you sit around all day in your pajamas. But
That's certainly true. It takes a lot of work. I mean, I've had I think 3 websites, maybe more, changing them all the time. And where do you get your clients from? A lot for me is referrals.
yes, at this point, thank heavens, yes.
Yeah, years ago I got it off of Google but the analytics have changed so greatly that unless you come up on number 1 or number 2, nobody's going to find you.
Right.
So you've got to be creative, you've got to be resourceful, you've got to be putting things up and doing things and getting your name out there, however you do it.
Right.
So it's work. It's a lot of work, to gain ground and gain a footing.
Definitely. The whole first year, I think I spent giving away stuff. It's like, oh, I have a training I can do for your employees. Oh, I have a training, or
Uh,
come to this free seminar that I'm doing. And you would just, I call it now in retrospect. At the time, it was so frustrating because nobody was really biting. It was, you get a few nibbles here and there. But now I call it planting seeds because once your name is out there, people, when they may not need you right now, but it's like, oh, I remember that lady who did that webinar.
right.
So you got to get out there. They're not going to knock on your door.
That is true. So what's another myth that we can look at, Lori?
That we tell people what to do. We solve all their problems and give them great advice, and then we send them on their way. That's a myth.
That is true. And I think for me, at least, when I coach, it's even today sometimes when people, I make it really clear when I talk to them, do a preliminary, I call it a consultative conversation. I talk about I don't have any answers to give you. You have the answers. So I'm not really giving any answers. I do work with them in being strategic and giving give and take, and I might offer my own insights.
Mhm.
Um, and people do say, well, what do you think? What would you do? And actually, today you can say, well, I can tell you what I would do, but that doesn't mean you're going to do it. That's just my own way of moving forward. So the coaching has changed today. How we deal with clients has gained much more length and breadth than it did 17 years ago when there were really, I think, set rules. Today, it's much more lenient on how you work with clients.
More flexible, for sure.
Right.
Now, in the beginning, I had a client who just kept, whatever I would say, she goes, well, just tell me what to do. And I go, that's not really what I can tell you what I would do, like you said, but that's really not what coaching is all about. It's sort of digging out your answers. It's removing obstacles. It's straightening the path instead of going here and there and all around, and getting you where you want to go. But we do not, that's not our job. We're not consultants, but certainly if, and I tell my mentees now, it's like, if you've got expertise, bring it to the table. My goodness, that, if you can speak financial jargon, do that. That's not going to hurt anything. That's your whole package. But yeah, no, we're not problem we're not problem solvers. We give you the tools to solve your own problem.
Or yes, and we help tease it out, you know.
Yes.
So what would you do in a case like whatever? Or, it's about asking questions that can lead them to finding their own thoughts. Maybe they don't have the answers right away, but certainly their own thoughts
Yeah.
on how they can go about flexing their muscles.
Right. And another myth is that we do all the work. You're paying us hundreds of dollars an hour, and we're going to do all the work. We're not. we're gonna partner with you. We're going to partner, and we'll do it together. We might ease the burden, but that money's not going for your solution to your problem. It's going toward even more a more in-depth thing. It's like how to solve problems. How to avoid this next time. How to be more aware.
Uh, yes, how to be more aware. It's interesting. When I was in therapy, when I started therapy years and years ago, I went there thinking the therapist was going to give me answers.
Sure.
And after a while, I said, well, how come you can't give me answers? I don't understand. And his comment to me was, sure, I can give you the answers, but when it happens next time, you won't know what to do. And, that was
Answer. Yeah.
little did I know, fast forward many years, I would be a coach and probably almost saying the same thing.
Funny, yeah.
I don't have the answers. I can help you figure out the answers. We work together as partners. That's what I'm here for. I can, what I will say. So here's some thoughts. Tell me if they land for you. And if they don't, that's great. I don't take it personally.
And we've got a whole bunch of tools that we can help you with, because that's what our training was all about. It's like we can get you there so much faster because we have all these great tools that we're willing to share with you. So yeah, that's part of the job that we do, actually, getting you there, but under your own umbrella. It's like,
We're there to be supported, to be a partner, to help them see what their challenges are, certainly, and to, help them figure it out. And, that's what we're there for.
it's but and another thing that we don't do is we don't correct your mistakes. And this was probably the hardest concept, and I still struggle with it sometimes. But in my training, um, IPAC, it's like there are no mistakes. And it's like, what do you mean there are no mistakes? You mean if you kill somebody, it's not a mistake? The deal is everything is a learning opportunity, and everything is a step toward the next step. So yeah, if you kill somebody, then you're going to try to figure. You may spend a little time for that, but you're going to spend your time, hopefully, with a coach. We don't do killers, but with a coach, you're going to figure out, okay, if you had to do it over, how would you do it differently? What can you do next time that's going to get you the results that you really want,
Right.
etc. So we're not there to correct your mistakes. We're there to help you learn from them.
Exactly. The quote that I learned from CTI was, there's no failure, only feedback.
Oh, I love that. That's nice. Yeah.
The same as mistakes. we all make errors, if you will. You
Mhm.
all do. The question is, what did you learn from the error that will help you shine a light on how to move forward?
Yeah.
How
Yeah.
do you move forward from whatever you did and move forward in a way that's going to be productive?
And hopefully we will assist you in not making the same mistake over and over and over again.
Exactly.
Here's a different way, or how else can you view this problem, or how else, or how have
Exactly.
you dealt with this in the past, that you can bring it forward, that successfully in the past, that you can bring that forward.
Exactly. Another is sometimes I think as coaches, we have to be very careful how we challenge clients
Mm,
because it can come off as being judgmental.
yes.
And I'm always very careful. If I challenge somebody, I might say to them, I want you to know I'm challenging you. I'm not judging you. There's absolutely no judgment here. And I will say sometimes I'm the last person that can sit in judgment of somebody else. And I do say that many times over, and they get it. So they don't confuse the process of challenging them so they can rise to their level of whatever they need to reach.
I like that forewarning. It's like, wait a minute, I'm not judging you, but I am gonna challenge you. Yeah. I try very carefully not to use why in my questions. Like,
Yes,
why'd you do that? Because it's
exactly,
accusatory, and then people get, it's like, well, what do you
exactly.
mean, why so
That's
there are other ways to do that.
right, right,
But no, I like the forewarning. It's like, hey, this is
right.
gonna get uncomfortable. You ready? Yeah,
And definitely, when you say, well, why did you do that? Oh, you're right.
yeah.
There's a pointing a finger,
Whether
as
you
a
meant
parent,
to or not. Yeah.
right? We also want to be clear that we don't come across as a parent, parenting or judging a client.
Yeah.
And that can happen.
It can, and it's sometimes your clients are already in fragile positions, and you really don't want to mess that up. You want to build trust. You don't want to let them have to be defensive against you. So,
Right.
that's,
And, that's, I think, a big key that we've talked about. One of the core competencies, I believe, or ethics is you want to create a safe space where trust and integrity are the cornerstones for having a client be willing to come in and open up.
yeah, yeah. And I agree. We've had this conversation
Yes.
before. You feel that's the most important,
So
and I think it's up there. I definitely think it's up there.
definitely,
Yeah.
definitely.
Another thing is that people feeling, oh, I don't want to get started. I know somebody who's been seeing a shrink for 20 years, and it's like, you don't they people think that, oh, once I start a coach thing, I got to keep stick with it. You know what? That's really not true, because the tools that we have, we share with you, and we help you learn how to use them. We help you move from one position to another, and build a foundation there. So it's not really true that if you start with a coach, you're going to be hanging with that coach, 20 years down the road. You can always do a tune-up.
And that is true. I worked with a program. I asked for 6 months.
Mhm.
I say after 3 months, if you feel you've done everything, then that's good too. And I've had clients repeat. I have a client now that keeps coming back for for tune-ups. They come for different things. It's and coaching is not therapy, which people sometimes say, "Oh, this is therapy." It's not therapy. However, it is about understanding, at least for me, what triggers somebody, because we all get triggered, you know. Left brain, second part is about the present and getting triggered from the past. So it's really, even though it's going back, it's not going back. Because if somebody is being triggered or repeating something from the past, for me, it's important to understand what that trigger is and to be able to separate it. Because we all get triggered, but that's the past. And we're responding to it in the present.
Right. And what coaches don't do, we're not going to delve into the past. We're not going to start at the womb and bring
Right.
you on up. We start where you are. And if, like Terry says, if there are triggers from the past, we're going to unearth them and go, well, how is that serving you now? That happened when you were 3 and now you're 42. Maybe we could drop that. Or how else can we look at that? So yeah, that good point. Good point there.
It's so it's not therapy at all. However, it is trying to figure out, it's about behaviors and patterns, right? If
Yeah.
you
Yes.
if you're stuck somewhere and you can't get beyond it because you keep doing the same thing over and over, you have an assumption or a belief that was caused way back when. It's not true about the present. And it's having a client understand that they don't have to be a prisoner of the past.
Yeah. Yeah. I think though, because we have like 90 seconds left. I think
What? Are you
I
kidding?
I
Oh
know
my God.
it's flying time. That's it. I think the maybe the last myth is that you don't have to have a specific problem to see a coach. You can have that little feeling like, oh, something's just not right, or
Mhm.
something isn't working in my life, and you may not even know what your main goal is. You don't have to do that. You can work with a coach to figure that out.
That's
Um,
true. You know, people come, things aren't going right. I just want to figure it out.
right.
And they get unstuck or they figure, a light bulb goes off and they're able to move forward.
Yep, yep. I've had Terry, I've had so much fun doing this. I wish we'd done it before. I think it should have been
God,
done because there are so many myths out there.
wow.
Yeah, I'm really glad we did that and change. Maybe we change someone's attitude or belief about
Oh, change.
coaching.
There
Yeah,
we are. Coaches creating change. Hopefully, we've made some movement and change today.
definitely. And we will see you again in August. Enjoy the rest of your summer.
Yes, take care.
Bye,
Bye.
Terry.